All right, World Regions Geography 110, Oceania, Part 4, talking about demographics. Um, there's two here. Didn't include Australia in this, um, but Australia is similar to New Zealand. Um, what you see here when you look here, Papua New Guinea and New Zealand, this is more like a European. It's maintaining its population, but it's not growing its population, so its economy will probably stagnate somewhat. But you're seeing kind of a different shape. It's not going in so much. It has a little fluctuation, but it's not really growing very much. Not a lot of immigration to New Zealand. They don't allow a lot. Um, Papua New Guinea, on the other hand, is a more typical in terms of third world or developing countries. The population, while still is not great, you still have pretty broad base going up. So you have a population that's going to continue to grow over a long period of time, and probably not for at least 50 years going to see any slowing down at all. There's some things about Australia and New Zealand. There was white Australia policies and very similar policies in New Zealand. They did not allow non-European migrants until the 1970s. I remember when I was in college, when I was an undergraduate, a friend of mine had graduated from Fresno State. He was Japanese. Um, Australia needed teachers, and they were recruiting teachers. He was going to go to Australia to teach, and they wouldn't allow him because he was Asian, even though he was from America. Had a degree from Fresno State. So John ended up teaching in the United States. So current immigration policies are much more liberal. So you see a lot of Asians in Australia and New Zealand now. The immigration is turned around. I think the fear there was that of being dominated by Asian migration, particularly a lot of Chinese migration. Relative homogeneity. If you go to most islands, they're relatively homogeneous, even Australia and New Zealand, mostly European. Pacific Islands are primarily natives, except in Fiji, where there's about a 50-50 in the population because of labor imported by the British for the sugarcane factories, which are Indians, Fiji Indians. Major urban areas. This is a picture of Sydney and the famous bridge. Down here is the region called the Rocks right there, or I think it's right over here. Anyway, it's right around here somewhere. Oops, excuse me. So let's see here. So this is Sydney Harbor, and Sydney's a major urban area, typical city in Oceania, major cities. You go to like Suva. You go to Suva, which is the capital of Fiji. Um, yeah, there's the Sydney Opera House right over there. Um, so that's the ocean out there. This is the back of the harbor. That's why it was throwing me off. So the Rocks is over in this region right there. It's a famous tourist area. It's where the first settlement was, and it was basically a prison. But you have around the outsides, you have a lot of Aboriginals, or you have a lot of natives. You have poor shanty towns, basically, around the outsides of major cities. Um, I don't know, in Australia, I haven't really traveled outside the urban part of Sydney. Went through the mountains somewhat, but not into other parts, and haven't really explored that. But that's about it. Enjoyed you guys all in the class. I hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing you again in class. and prepare for the final.